Welcome to video number 7. Our goal today is by the end of the video, you will be able to multiply a binomial times a binomial and write your answer in standard form. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So when we have a binomial times a binomial, we're going to use what's called long distribution. Some of your parents remember this word FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, but we're going to call it long distribution. Or I'm going to show you another method called the box multiplication. And by the end, we'll have multiplied, gotten rid of the parentheses, and we'll write our answer in standard form. So let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. We have a binomial times a binomial. So when we do long distribution, what we're going to do is we're going to take the first term and we're going to multiply it to everything in the second set of parentheses. So in this case, we're going to take 2x and we're going to multiply it to 3x. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. And then we're going to take 2x and we're going to multiply it to the 6. So 2x times 6 is going to give us 12x. Then we're going to go and take a look at the second term. So now we have a negative 4. So we're going to take negative 4 and we're going to multiply it to the 3x. So that's going to give us a negative 12x. And then we're going to take the negative 4 and we're going to multiply it to the 6. So negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. Okay, now we're going to combine our like terms. So here I have an x and an x. So I'm going to go ahead and add those together, but 12x minus 12x, those are actually going to cancel each other out. And our final answer is 6x squared minus 24. And that is how we use long distribution. Okay, what I'd like to try next is a strategy called box multiplication. So we're going to set a multiplication table up. So this is going to be an OR. All right, so we have a binomial times a binomial. So since it's 2 terms and 2 terms, we're going to set up a box that's 4 squares, so a 2 by 2 box. We're going to take the first term and we're going to write it across the top. So 2x is going to go above the first column. Since it's a minus 4, we're going to put a negative 4. And then across the side, we're going to put the second term. So we have 3x, and then we have a positive 6. Now, this is a multiplication table. So to figure out what goes in the grids, we're going to multiply the terms together. So here I have a 2x, here I have a 3x. So I'm going to multiply them together and put them in the first box. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Now I'm going to take the 2x times the 6, I'm going to multiply them and put it in the bottom box there. And that's going to be a positive 12x. Then I'm going to take a negative 4 and a 3x, I'm going to multiply them and put it in the top right-hand box there. And that's a negative 12x. And then I have negative 4 and 6. I multiply them together for the last box, which gives me a negative 24. Now, when I take my answer to put it on the outside, we've already multiplied. So now I'm just going to combine my like terms. So here I have 6x squared. There's no other x squareds. So I just write that out. Then I look carefully. I have a positive 12x and a negative 12x. We're going to combine our like terms, and those are actually going to cancel. And then I look, I have a constant of 24. There's no other constant, so I just write 24. And there's my final answer. And we've got it. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to try a few more of these. So let's go over now and try number 2. I'm going to use the box method first this time. I see I have a binomial times a binomial because the parentheses are touching, so that means there's multiplication in the middle. So I'm going to go off to the side here, and I'm going to make a 2 by 2 grid. Okay, I have a squared and a 2, and then we have an a squared and a positive 3. Now to find out what goes inside of the boxes, we're going to multiply. A squared times a squared is going to give me a to the 4. A squared times 3, 3a squared. 2 times a squared, 2a squared. 2 times 3, 6. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So here I have an a to the 4 There's no other a to the 4, so that stays the same. And then I can combine these two, so 3 plus 2 is 5. The variable stays the same. And then here we have a constant of 6. And we have just simplified. And let's make sure highest power, the next power is lower, and then constants at the end. This is standard form. All right, let's go ahead. Let's try another one. So let's go down to 3. For this one, I'm going to use my long distribution. So here I have a binomial times a binomial. So I'm going to take 9 times negative 3, which is negative 27. 9 times negative d to the third, so that becomes negative 9d to the third. Then I go to my second term, d to the third times negative 3 becomes negative 3d to the third. And then d to the third times negative d to the third, so a positive times a negative is a negative. D, when you multiply, you add the power, so 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, now we have to write this in standard form. So I want to write the highest power first, and then I'm going to go to my lower power. So my highest power here is d to the 6. Okay, there's no other d to the 6, so I'm just going to write down negative d to the 6. Now I'm going to look for my next highest power, which is d to the 3. So now I'm going to combine 9d to the third minus 3d to the third, which gives us negative 12d to the third. And then my constant is just negative 27. And there we have our final answer. All right, let's take a look then at number 4. So here we have a plus b squared. All right, so we have to remember when we square parentheses, we're going to write it out as many times as the power. So here our power is 2, so this is really a plus b times a plus b. So let's go ahead and use our long distribution here. So let's go a times a is a squared. A times b plus ab. B times a plus ba. B times b plus b squared. So now I'm going to combine my like terms. So these both have a's and b's. But remember, multiplication is commutative. So these are actually both the same thing. So there's really a 1 in front. So here we're going to have a squared. These are actually the same. I'm going to put the a first. So I'm going to go ab plus b squared. And we've got it. All right, let's move down then to number 5. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and use the box method again here. So we're going to set up our box method. So I'm going to go 2y squared, 7, 2y squared, negative 7. Okay, I'm going to have you pause the video now, and I'd like you to fill this in by yourself, and we'll regroup in just a couple seconds. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Were you able to get the same square? All right, let's go ahead now. We already multiplied, so now we're going to combine our like terms. So here I have a 4y to the 4. Here I have my y squareds. When I combine those, 14y squared, negative 14, ooh, those are going to cancel. And then my constant is minus 49, and we've got it. All right, I'm going to have you go ahead, pause the video one more time, and I'd like you to try number 6 on your own. Make sure that you show your work, and it's your choice if you want to use a multiplication box or long distribution. All right, I'm going to go ahead and choose long distribution. So I'm going to go ahead, 5 times 4 is going to give me 20. All right, then I'm going to go 5 times x to the third is going to give me plus 5x to the third. Negative x squared times 4 is negative 4. Oops, this was a third. Sorry about that. So that should be 5x to the third minus negative x times 4 is negative 4x squared. And then negative x squared times x to the third is going to give me a negative x to the fifth. Okay, now we want to make sure we write this in standard form. So my highest power, negative x to the fifth. The next highest power is x to the third. There's no other x to the third, so I'm going to write that next. All right, and then we have our next highest power, which is x squared. And finally, we have our constant, which is just 20. All right, and that is multiplying your binomials. So now let's take this one final step. Let's flip to the back, and let's take a look at number 7 here. So we have the length of a rectangle and the width is given. Express the perimeter and area of the given rectangle in simplest form. So remember, when in doubt, draw it out. All right, so let's go ahead. We're given the name of a shape, so let's start by drawing that shape. So we have a rectangle. The length is 2x minus 5. Remember, the top and the bottom of a rectangle are congruent. And then x plus 7 for the width. Now the first thing it says is express the perimeter. So I'm going to try the perimeter first. And I know that the perimeter is when I'm going to add all the sides. Add all sides. So let's go ahead and add them up. So I'm going to add my x's first. So 2x plus 1 is 3x, plus 2 is 5x, plus 1 is 6x. Now I'm going to add my constants. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2, plus negative 5 is negative 3, plus 7 is 4. And there we have our perimeter. Now we're going to take a look at the area. So remember, area is length times width. Now if we take a look at our length and our width, they are binomials. Binomials are quantities, and quantities go into parentheses. So we're going to put those in parentheses. So our length is 2x minus 5 and x minus plus 7. Now it says in simplest form, so that means we need to multiply this out. So you can choose either the box method or your long distribution. I'm going to try long distribution here. So 2x times x, 2x squared, 2x times 7, 14x, negative 5 times x, negative 5x, and negative 5 times 7 is going to be negative 35. Okay, last part, I'm going to combine my like terms, which are my x's. So I have 2x squared plus 9x minus 35. And we have got it. All right, one final question left. So let's take a look at number 8. Solve. A binomial times a binomial equals a binomial times a binomial. Oh boy, we've got some work to do here. So the first thing we have to do is multiply both sides of that equal side. So we have to use long distribution, or the box method, we're going to go ahead and use it twice. I'm going to go ahead and set up the multiplication table, x and 5, x and negative 4, equals, over here, I'm going to set up x, negative 4, x, and 6. So let's take a look. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. X times negative 4, negative 4x. 5 and negative 4 gives me negative 20. And then over on this side, x times x is x squared, negative 4x, 6x, and negative 24. Now we have to go ahead and let's simplify. So here we have x squared plus, we're going to multiply or add those. We get x minus 20 is our constant, equals x squared plus 2x minus 24. All right, now we get to solve this. So we have our equal sign. So I'm going to bring my x squareds over to one side. Oh, and look at that. If I subtract x squared, they end up canceling. So now I have x minus 20 equals 2x minus 24. And I'm going to stop the video here. I'd like you to finish this and come to class with the final answer. Have a great day, everybody.